Hey there, and welcome to Growth Amplifiers. I'm Manny Torres, and I'm excited to have you here today. Growth Amplifiers podcast is where we share the best tips and tools and strategies for growing your advisory, coaching, or training practice by elevating the value and experience you provide to your clients. Today's guest we have is Jeff Cohen. He is the CEO of C-Level Roundtable. With over 20 years as an entrepreneur, management consultant, and business coach, Jeff is a highly effective business and turnaround strategist. He helps companies create enormous value, operate effectively, and prepare for exit. He is an expert team builder and aligns people and skills for growth performance. Jeff is a very desired speaker and has experience facing off with the sharks on Shark Tank. He is also the author of Count Honorable, a practical guide to lift, shift, and empower you and your team. I want to welcome to our show, Mr. Jeff Cohen. Hey, Jeff, how are you doing today?
Thank you. I am great. Thanks for that great introduction. I really appreciate it.
Well, I'm excited to have you on the show today. First off, I just want to mention the Shark Tank because I'm sure you get asked about that a lot. Tell me, how was it being on the Shark Tank?
So by the time my experience at Shark Tank had occurred, I had grown a business from nothing to 50 people in 2 years, and then from 50 people to 0 in under a year. And 2007 was just not a good time for a lot of people, right? So when I got to Shark Tank, I had a bankruptcy. I had all this experience. We had this really fun product and fun company. It was fun again, right? And then Kevin O'Leary went ahead and said, "Hey, you're radioactive. You'll never get another bank. I'm out." And I'm like, wow, that's kind of harsh. And then what was hysterical about it, though, was, Shark Tank has you up there for 45 minutes to an hour, something like that. So there's a lot of interaction. They take the best 10 minutes, and that's what they air. But then Robert Herjavec came up and he said the most incredible thing I will never forget. He said, "Kevin, you can't dump on this guy. The measure of a man is not how many times you fall. It's how many times you get back up." And that really hit a spot for me. And I live by that. Like, people deserve a second chance. Things happen in life, and you only get that second chance if you take it. You've actually got to be the one. So it was a really profound moment in my life. By the way, we were the very first company that Shark Tank ever did a success story on. I mean, ever. Right? So in season 2, the very first success story is ours. And why is that? Well, you don't always need a bank in order to have the capital that you need to move your business forward, and you don't always have to come up with it yourself.
That's an awesome story, and it sounds like that created a lot of the foundation that probably you used in your upcoming book, which I'm excited to talk about, which is Count Honorable. And I want to start off today with the first question of our big 3 is, what is Count Honorable, and why is it important for business owners?
It's a great question. So I want to answer it with a little bit of a share. First off, do you remember the last time you heard the word accountable? Was it like last night at 6:00 on the evening news when someone was going to jail, or there was a politician people didn't like and they wanted to hold that person to account?
Yeah.
So accountable. Yeah.
I was going to say, I feel like I hear it a lot, whether it's talking with my kids, whether it's talking with my business partner, it seems like, it comes up quite a bit.
Yeah, it gets a really bad rap, though. If you look in the dictionary, it specifically says, it's the act of being held responsible. Now, if you asked me, that sounds a lot and feels a lot like being held at gunpoint, because it's not fun to be held responsible for anything. Like, where's the win in that? How can you actually embrace it and say, hey, I'm accountable? Yeah. I went through a 2-year program to learn how to become accountable. And I have a whole different relationship to the world of being accountable than most people in the world do. And what I noticed in working with 300 business owners when I created my Next Level 90 Business Accelerator program and refined it over time, what I noticed was no one wants to be accountable. But you know what? People take tremendous pride when they say, hey, you can count on me. And to me, that's how the word countable came to life. Because if you think about it, accountability requires two people and a management process. And oftentimes, managers don't have a process for holding people accountable. They say, okay, you're now accountable for washing the dishes. I hate washing the dishes. I do a lousy job at it. My wife always complains. Why do you want me doing that? Don't you want me creating marketing material or strategy or something? But we do that to people. We hire these A people and we have an A job for them. And we know it's an A job. Why? Because we say so. Now we ask them to wash the dishes. We do that in the interview, by the way. They're about to take the job, right? And we say, oh, by the way, can you also wash the dishes, right? And then what do they say? They want the job. What are they going to say? Sure, I can wash the dishes. Now you've just made your A player a B player because from day one, he's going to start disappointing you.
That's so true. And even though we know we shouldn't do it, that always happens. I know I find myself, asking more than what I initially set as the scope with my team members. And, as you mentioned that, we work with a lot of business owners and a lot of our listeners are business owners. So how can being countable help business owners and their team not only improve, but create a system or a framework where they're continually improving by being countable?
Well, so there's two parts to that answer. The first one is the number one thing that will help you and save you more time and have your company be more productive than at any other time in the world. This is the number one thing. So make sure you're listening clearly when I say this. What you and your team are not countable for is more important to know than what you are countable for. If you are not countable for something and you attempt it, but someone else is, you're making a big mistake. You may not be doing something that caters to your strengths. It may not be something you're good at, and you may not like doing it. But if you have all three of those things, it's probably your dream job. Don't you want someone that's doing their dream job, taking the things on you care about? Because first off, you'll never lose them. So how do you maintain an environment of being countable? The great news is, and you can see images of it because the book's not released yet, but it will be by the time this interview comes out. The process, which I'm patenting right now, it's currently patent pending, and method that I've been working on for over 20 years. And it works in Fortune 500 companies, and it works with solopreneurs. It's published in the book. The step-by-step process. There are a lot of great frameworks, and I highly recommend that you really research them. Look at the Entrepreneur Operating System. Look at Scaling Up. Look at others. They're great systems. The thing they all say is have the right person do the right job at the right time. And there's not a single person I know of that would not agree with that. Here's the thing. How do you know you have the right person doing the right job at the right time? My book actually shows you how. It gives you the words to say. It outlines a very simple meeting schedule and a very easy to follow way of setting up your business objectives and your milestones every quarter so that you're following the path you want to follow that will get you to the dream you have. And by the way, if your dream is, I want to sell my company someday, well, if you're not creating leaders that create leaders in your company, then it'll always be dependent on you. And it's not a sellable business. Or if it is sellable, you're going to be locked into a 5-year earnout. And you know the percentage of people that actually get that money? It's actually really small. So if you're not creating leaders that create leaders, the success of your business and the future security of your family is at risk, and all of the people that work for you.
Well, I think that's wonderful, because that is so true. The toughest thing is getting those right people, making sure that they're doing the right things. I think, for as a business owner, I know I struggle with that, and the clients that we work with, we hear that a lot. It's that they have more tasks than they have people to do them, and then what tends to happen is they end up throwing a lot of the tasks that are lower level to get them off their plate. But what that does is removes that person that is an A player from doing what their highest level tasks are. So I definitely see how, having that process that you're talking about where you can ensure that the right people are doing the right things at the right time can really be a big improvement for a business. So definitely encourage everyone listening to this. Check out the book Count Honorable. It's going to be coming out soon, and we'll have information on where you can find that here in a little bit. Jeff, next I want to ask you, because one of the things that we talk a lot about with business owners is how can you differentiate? Can you separate your business from your competitors? And we all know that the greatest businesses are the ones with the greatest teams. But how can being Count Honorable help you differentiate your business from your competitors by, creating that better experience for those that you serve?
Think about someone you love working with. Okay, now, when you have that person in your head, think about how often they disappoint you. And what's a disappointment? A disappointment might be something is not delivered on time. The work quality is substandard, right? They may trigger you. Oh my God, my first chapter in the book is about the biggest trigger I have that I developed as a child. It's called Grand Theft Auto. By the way, you can just download it on the website if you just come to the website. But if you think about that, then you know that you love working with this person, but occasionally they do disappoint. Occasionally something is missing. Now, here's the thing, Manny. You get to own it. Take responsibility for their failure. Now, why do I say that? Because if you're always saying it's their fault and you're not looking internally at what is happening in your world, how you can set them up for success, where the gaps are that you have, and it's always someone else, you'll never figure out how to be Count Honorable. And the trust level between you and them will diminish because you're not aligned. And there's a framework in the book called the Trust Alignment Framework that actually talks about effective communication and how to move from an environment of alignment into the environment of trust. And when you're in the environment of trust, how do you know what you can trust somebody for? It's another level deeper. We say all the time, oh, I know I can trust Manny for what? Well, can he be on time to a meeting? Does he have great ideas? Does he follow through? How do you know? Well, if you meet with Manny every week and you've got a priority action list that aligns with the milestones and goals you have for the quarter, and you put those two things together, oh my God, what an enormous difference that makes. And then how do you go through that list? Because sometimes they can get long, right? Well, I give you the words to say so you don't trigger people. Because if you really don't want to waste time in your week, you won't trigger people. When you trigger someone, like when you trigger me, just ask me why anything. Why isn't it done yet? I promise I will tell you why. And I will waste about 20 to 30 minutes of your time telling you why. I'm really good at it. Over the years, I've mastered that skill. But all you want to know is, are you committed to doing it? Am I going to get it? Should I reassign it? Like, that's all I need to know. You know, you can waste months waiting for something from someone. And what's the value in that?
Hey there, this is Kenny from Growth Amplifiers, here to ensure you get your awesome ideas into action to grow and improve your business and achieve your full potential. Take the first step by visiting growthamplifiers.com and clicking the Start Here button. Take the assessment to get your personalized score. Then select from free resources to learn how to improve your score. Don't wait. Be proactive and take action now by visiting growthamplifiers.com and clicking the Start Here button. And always keep on amplifying. Now, let's get back to the show.
I like that. And it's totally true. When you don't have that trust level, it's really hard to, lean in and allow your team members to do what they need to do without micromanaging. So I like that you talked about getting specific about what can you count on and someone about, and I'm really excited to, put a lot of the tools and resources that you have in your book into practice with my team, because I see areas where I can improve as a leader to make them be empowered to be their best, and as you say, develop them into leaders as well. So I'm excited about that. Jeff, next, I want to move into our kind of lightning round of our advisor picks. And this is where
Okay.
you're going to share some tools and resources that you've come across over the years that's helped you so that we can help our audience members as they grow and improve their business. So the first thing I want to ask you is, do you have a productivity tool that you really like that you use on a regular basis?
I do. One of the cool things, and I found it while I was writing in my book, Otter AI. It's awesome. I actually get every conversation that, like this one, is being transcribed and recorded as we do it. Why? Because, note taking is so important. I can't tell you how often I forget things. Now, I'm not senile yet. I might get there someday, just not yet. But I love being able to go back and revisit a conversation that I've had, because the things people share with me are so impactful.
Yeah, I love that. And, with the AI, it's so great to be able to have that and save time. And a lot of times it's almost as good as what we are. And it's a really great time saver. So I love that productivity tool. That's a new one that people should definitely check out. So our
There's
next one, sure,
one
go
other
ahead.
thing I just want to add to that is, so the Next Level 90 framework, tools, spreadsheets, everything, they're in the book. I've open sourced it all. And if you're looking for real productivity in your business, that will actually have you be productive from the point of, this is what I want in the future, to what needs to be done today, and give you the step-by-step process for doing it. It's a simple process, but I'm giving that a plug because it is a productivity enhancer.
Perfect. And I love books that have resources and tools. So definitely check that out at counthonorable.com. And speaking of that, that's going to move us into our next advisor pick, which is a book that you recommend. Obviously, we're going to plug your book, Count Honorable, which is available at counthonorable.com. Jeff, are there any other books that have influenced you or inspired you?
There are quite a few. And I'll just share two. And I list some of them in the book because, like, there's nothing new that's been created today. It's just like with the Count Honorable method and process. I went to the hairdresser, had them color a few hairs blue, some purple. We mixed it up a little bit, trimmed it, and now we have a new method, right? But one of the books as a business coach, because I like to use more of a coaching model with my clients and in my business. Michael Bungay Stanier wrote a book called The Coaching Habit. And I listen to that book at least 3 times a year. To me, it's always great getting back to the basics. And that book, and also there's another book that I'm listening to now, which I'm really enjoying, called Coactive Coaching. That's another great book. And I highly recommend that from a perspective of, like, if you want to have a coaching environment in your business.
Nice. Those are two that I have not heard of. So really appreciate you sharing those because, as you said, a lot of people, there's the same, handful that get passed around, but it's always great to see a different take because, even though you've heard something once, you may not be putting it into play and actively using it the right way. So sometimes you need it shared with you in a different way so that it resonates with you or at the time that you really need it. So I appreciate you sharing those. So next, our advisor pick is there an event, a conference, or an online show that you recommend to others to either attend or listen to?
There's not one, but I will say this. So I'm a profit first professional, although it's not the thing I focus on with my clients, because what I look at is helping them create a future, like a vision of what their business can be, and help them with the strategy and process for getting there and ensuring that they have a soundboard to work through. Mike Michalowicz, who wrote Profit First, has written, I think, 7 or 8 other books. He and I have had several conversations one-on-one about my book. In fact, he was the very first person to endorse it. I was like, I can't tell you how moved I was when he offered to do that. But he's got a wealth of knowledge. It's in the market today. I just really invite you to check him out and what he does, because I think, there's a lot you can get from the environment he puts in place.
Yeah, Mike has some incredible resources and insights. And that actually ties into our next one, which is a thought leader, which, he definitely is, with all the books that he's published, Pumpkin Plan and Fix This Next. And I really appreciate his style of communicating and teaching because it's easy to consume it and retain, which I really love. So those are some great recommendations. So Jeff, if someone wants to get some additional information about you and where they can find the book, where can they go to learn more about you and the book Count Honorable?
Yeah, so that's really great. Couple things about that. First off, when you search for Jeff Cohen, there's about 2 million of us in the world. It may be difficult to find me. So you'll absolutely need to put something else in there. You can put Shark Tank in there. By the way, the week after I was on Shark Tank, there was another Jeff Cohen. Just saying.
What are the odds? I guess 100%, right?
I guess it's a really great name from my era. But in any case, yes. So there's a few things I would invite you to do. First off, do come to counthonorable.com and download all the resources, all of the charts, all of the graphs, all of the steps in the process are there. You can download the first chapter there as well. I'm excited to have you participate with our community, and reach out and let me know what issues and struggles you're dealing with, and if I can help, there'll be the ability to book an appointment with me or someone on my team that can actually hear what you're going through and help you figure out what a good step might be to take. I'm also looking at having some other offerings up on the site that you might be able to do that are very, low-hanging fruit and easy to try steps. So I would invite you to check all of that out. I'm also very active on the social media channels, Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter, those primarily. And Manny, I'm really loving this interview. And if you want to see more interviews from me, they're out there. We're out there promoting this new word and concept, which, by the way, while it may be new to most people, I found the very first use of it. And I wrote about that in the book. So I invite you guys to take a look at the appendix, because that's where it is. And come, like I said, come to counthonorable.com. Look for me. If you're hosting an event and you're looking for someone to speak about how to treat your people like gold and how to have them be countable in your environment, let me know. I'd be more than happy to entertain the conversation.
Awesome, Jeff. Well, I'm excited to put the information that I've learned from the book and use that as a resource ongoing. That's one of the things I tell people. It's not how many books have you read, but how many ones do you have that you go back to and read on a consistent basis so that you can really master those. And I think that's what it's all about. How can you improve a little bit each time? So Jeff, we want to end on our favorite thing to do is provide an opportunity for you to provide a final thought. So this is something that you've learned along your journey that you think would help others as they're in their journey that you'd like to share with our audience.
Wow. Well, first off, Manny, I just want to thank you for having me today. You're such a gracious host, and all these softballs. I mean, come on. Well, here's what I'll say, and I want to end on a high note, but before I go there, I just want to tell you, like, a lot of people struggle in the world. And when I went through my bankruptcy, when my business was failing, when there just was no way out, and I could not sleep at night, and I could not find sanity, and I would sit in front of the TV and watch Star Trek for 8 hours a day to escape, I pushed my whole family away. To this day, it really hurts. It took 2 years after my divorce to reestablish a relationship with my sons. So I just want to tell you the number one thing, if you ever find yourself or see someone going through that, is we look at mental health differently today than we did back then. Talk to somebody. Just talk to somebody. The difference that would have made in my life and theirs would have been enormous. And that's the number one thing I want your people that are listening to be looking out for, because I don't want anyone to ever go through what I went through. It sucked. I do not recommend it. And if you're experiencing difficulty, get help. Now, if your business is causing that, look for professionals like Manny, like me, like the people that we work with. Like, we know what we're doing. We've been through this. I've started 6 businesses. And if you're holding your people accountable and it's not working, stop being just accountable. Be countable.
That's perfect, Jeff. And I think it's really timely. And, being an entrepreneur, being a business owner is a lonely road at times. So as you mentioned, Jeff, if there's anybody out there listening, if you need someone to speak to, reach out to us or find someone to support you, because you don't have to do it alone. Jeff, I really appreciate your insights and your wisdom. Enjoyed having you on the show. Thank you so much, and look forward to seeing your Count Honorable book get out there and become a bestseller. And thank you so much for being here.
And please help us.
Yes, please go out there, buy the book, share it. That's one of the great things to do, is share that knowledge with others. Don't hold it all for yourself. And check it out at counthonorable.com. Thanks, Jeff.
Thank you.
To show your support, take a moment to amplify this message by sharing it online. To connect with me or gain more business growth insights, visit www.growthamplifiers.com. Thank you for your support.